Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Gine Signatures. My name is Gine. So today I'll be making this beautiful blouse with multiple keyholes. So if this is what you're interested in, please kindly sit back, relax. This video is going to be well detailed. So it came out very nice, as you can see. My client didn't want the way the sleeve was. I just wanted a simple sleeve. So that was why I came out with this, and it came out very, very, very beautiful. It's a turtleneck with multiple keyholes. So sit back, relax, and let's get over to the cutting table. Thank you to all my amazing subscribers. I really appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you as you're supporting this channel. God will keep supporting you. Thank you, and I really appreciate you all. Thank you. So let's go over to the table. So I'll be making use of this lace fabric. This is like a chantilly lace and the doll face, and of course lining. I'll be drafting this on a paper first so that it will be visible. So that when you want to cut yours, you can get everything in total. So now I've already rolled out some basic lines like my chest line, bust point, under bust, half length, and then the full length of the blouse. I went ahead to get my shoulder measurement and then the armhole depth. So now the next thing I'll be doing now is to just divide the bust span measurement or the nipple to nipple measurement into two, and then connect like so. So my marker was fucking up, so I had to improvise by making use of this pen. Don't worry, it's going to be visible. I'll still use my marker to highlight some points later. So I've connected the lines like so, and then I'll go for my underbust darts. I'll mark 1.5 inches on one side and then half an inch on the other side, like so. I marked on my half length and then my underbust respectively. So I'll connect the lines like so. So now I just carve that from my bust point coming down half an inch, and then I'll carve it out like so, just to get my bust. So now at the full length of the gown, I'm not going to be putting any dart. I'll just slant it in like this. But if you want, you can still make do with that, but I don't need that for that. Especially if your tummy is on the big side, you don't need it for that. You can just do it the way I did it. So at the upper chest line, I'm taking in 1 inch respectively on both sides, and then I'll be connecting it back to meet the bust point. Now this 1.5 that I used for my under bust and half length is not constant. This is dependent on how busty the kind of person is. You can use 2 inches, you can use 2.5, so that varies. So now I'll be dividing my bust measurement by 4, and then I'll mark that on the chest line, add back the darts that I took, and then add my sewing allowance. So whatever is on the chest line is automatically what is will be on the bust point or the bust line. So I'll just come to my waist measurement as the half length, divide the waist by 4, add back the darts, and then add my sewing allowances, and then I'll connect from the bust to the waist like so. And then I'll come to the length of the blouse, and then I'll mark my hip measurement divided by 4. Because there's no dart, I'll just add my sewing allowances like so. So I'll connect. So now this is what we have. So now in order to get the yoke for the multiple keyholes, as you can see, the next thing I'm going to do is that this is entirely your choice. So I'll just go up from my chest point by 1.5 inches. You can go up by 2 inches. That's the mark that I ruled now. So I extend the nipple to nipple measurement up there, so that I'll take my darts on that area, so that by the time I fix my yoke, everything is going to be sitting pretty. So I'll extend that 1 inch that I marked on my chest line upwards like so, and then connect the lines very well. So I'll take the 1 inch on both sides like so. So that's what we have. So I'll make sure that this 1 inch, I mark it very well. It didn't get that, so I had to reconfirm to make sure that it's equal. So now I'll just use my marker now to highlight what I did there, so that you see what I did very well. So you can see that our bustier is already showing. So let me just use this to highlight it very well, so you can see. So those places I'm shading are those places that will be cut off, because those are our darts. So now the next thing to do is to go over to our yoke part. Now I'll be explaining one thing. Like, if you want your yoke to start from the midpoint of your armhole, you can go ahead and do it. That's the first line that I'll be ruling out. I got the midpoint of my armhole, and then I'll be connecting it to meet the center point, like so, in because that's a sweetheart neckline. So I'll carve it out to meet it like this, and that may be your yoke. But I don't want the yoke to be as high as that, so I'll be showing you another way. I'll just come in from the side like this, use my hands to draw the arc, pass it across the darts that I made, and then I'm good to go. So I'll use my marker to highlight this. This is what I'm going with. I'm not going with the first one. So this is what I'm going with. But if you like, you can go with the first one, but I'm okay with this. So I'll just extend the lines of the darts. So you can extend it. I extended it by 2 inches because I used 1 inch on both sides. So I extended that so that I won't fall short of fabric when I'm sewing. So by the time you finish sewing, everything is going to be coming back to the normal shape that it was originally supposed to be. So I'll just draw out my new armhole like so. So that's what I just did. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. It's very, very easy. So that is our yoke. So I'll not be using a yoke for the back. The back is going to be carrying the lace all through. The main emphasis of this tutorial is just for the multiple keyholes that we have in the front. So this is what we have. We'll notch the underbust so that when I'm sewing, it's going to be straight like so. So this is what we have. So I'll just go ahead and cut out for the yoke as well. So now this is what we have. So now I'll fold this back and then show you how I'll be achieving that multiple holes on this my pattern paper first, and then later I'll be showing you how you're going to be sewing it. So don't fast forward, just take your time and watch very well. So for the neckline, I made use of 2 inches by 2 by 2 inches, or 2 by 3, I beg your pardon, because it's going to be a turtle neckline. So now just draw out. If you're very good with your hand, like I tried in mine, just draw out any shape, like an oval shape on your paper like so. It's just going to be 3 places. So I've drawn the first one, the second one, the middle one. I'll open it like this and then draw it. Just try as much as possible to get an oval shape. But if you feel like you can't draw it directly on the paper like this, look for a rough paper. Look for and then draw the shape first, and then you can come back and place on your pattern paper before drawing it, but I just felt like I can draw it. That's why I drew it directly on the paper. But if you know you can't draw it directly on the paper, you can just use a rough paper, draw it there like a sketch, and then come and trace it out on the paper here. So now this is what we have. So I'll come back to that later to show you the next line. But for now, I'll have to cut out the back piece, and I'll be cutting this directly on the doll face that I'll be making use of. You know, the material I'm making use of is a chantilly lace, so if I use that, you won't even see anything. So for the back piece, there's no need to do it on the paper. I'll just draft directly on the doll face material. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to get my zipper allowance. If you don't want to make use of a zipper allowance, you don't need to add that. Just do your normal basic body measurements. Divide your shoulder by 2, get your armhole, and then you connect like so. I made use of a white chalk. I believe it's visible enough. Divide your bust by 4, and then you add your sewing allowances. I didn't add my waistline here. I just went directly to the hip line, so that by the time I'm closing my fabric, I'll be making use of my waist measurement. Yeah. So I'll just go over here and then mark my hip measurement, and then add the sewing allowance as well. Then add 1 inch for that. So I connected like so. So I'm marking the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. And that is what I'll be connecting from the shoulder up down to the hip line like so, in a straight line, because I'll be cutting this into 2. I'm going to be separating. So I'll just cut this out. If you have watched up to this level, I beg you, please kindly subscribe. Kindly hit on the subscribe button and kindly share. And please kindly leave beautiful comments as well. Thank you. So now I'll be slitting this open in form of my dart. I will not be using the normal dart, but we have different ways we can achieve this. So you can use any which way that is comfortable for you to use. So I'll be setting that aside as well, and then I'll go over to cut out everything on the main fabric. So I've gone ahead to cut out, this is the middle piece. I've gone ahead to cut this out. As you can see, I cut it out on my doll face and I cut it on the chantilly lace. I went ahead to cut the side as well, cut on my doll face and then on the lace as well, and then the back pieces as well. I've gone ahead to cut everything on the lace as well. So let me just show you how I'm going to be sewing this. So with pleats like this, you run a quarter or half an inch to join them, and then you're good to go. So I'll be setting that aside because I'll be going ahead to turn them with my lining off camera. But the area of emphasis now is this keyhole, how we're going to be achieving that. So I'll be making use of this tool net, I beg your pardon, it's a net. So I got half yard, so I'm folding this into 4 because I want to line it with the same lace. I want it doubled net. I want it to be doubled because this kind of net, you know, it can tear at any point in time, so you need to double it up. Don't use it a single net, make it double so that it will be thicker. So I'll be adding half an inch at this lower part like so that, because that's where I'll be joining it to my fabric. So I'll just add half an inch at the lower part and then cut out exactly as it is on the net. So this is what we have. So you can see that it's looking more thicker than lighter the way it was. So this is what we have. So I'll be placing this paper on top of it, because if I should say I should sew directly on the net, I will not be getting anything achievable. So you just have to place the paper on top of the net like this, and then use your pins to hold them down at every corners. Just hold them down properly. If you want your sweetheart neckline to go deeper, you can go deeper, but I wanted mine decent. That is why I did it like this. So if you want yours more in depth, like going pointed more in to show cleavage, you can go ahead and do that. Yeah, so that is just options that are open. So now I'll go ahead, take it to the sewing machine. I'll not be running directly on those lines I drew. I'll be coming in by half an inch from those lines. Why? Because this is a net, and you know net has the tendency of expanding. So I just felt like coming in by half an inch will not be bad, because it will expand after I must have sewn it. So that's why I did that. So that is the bustier part. I've gone ahead to sew it, and I've gone ahead to sew this on. As you can see, that was what I moved closer to camera to show you. So I'm removing the pins, and then I'll be tearing the papers off the net. One of my subscribers requested for this video, and I've held it back for so long because I had a whole load of work to be done. That's why I didn't do the tutorial on time. So if you're watching this, thank you for exercising patience, and please don't relent in sending me tutorials that you wish I can help you to achieve. I'm always here, okay? So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Sorry it came late, but I've been very busy, thoroughly busy with work. That is why I couldn't upload this tutorial on time. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for the support. So I'll be cutting the middle of this that I sew, and then I'll be leaving only about 1/4 of an inch far away from the stitches that I made on the net. So I'll be cutting it open just for you to see how it will be. So when cutting this, please take it easy, be careful so that you won't cut through the threads. So this is the first hole, and then I'll go ahead to cut the other holes and then show you. So I've gone ahead to cut them out, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to be using is to use a matching bias that goes with the color of the blouse. So I'll be making use of this yellow bias, and I'll be using it to tape the holes all the way. The 3 holes, I'll tape it, make it neat. Just take your time when you're sewing this, because it can be tedious here because it's a net. And then I'll go ahead to join it like this. Use my lining to turn it, and then sew it up and then close it out. I'll be back to show you how it looks. So after doing all that, this is what I have. So you can see that the bias gave it a neat finishing because it's a net. I don't want that place to frill, so using that bias was like very good option. So I've gone ahead to join everything. So the next thing we're going to be doing now is to cut the turtleneck. I already have a detailed tutorial on how to cut this turtleneck on my channel, but I'm just going to be showing you how I achieved this. I measured the neckline. Everything was about 17 inches with this zip allowance inclusive. So I'm going to be folding my fabric in a bias form, and then I'm sorry, without any measurement. You don't need any measurement for this. All you need to do is to know the inches you have for your round neck measurement, as like I measured it. So I'll just come down after folding a bias form, I'll come down by about 8 inches first, and then that 8 inches I'll be rotating it like this, as if I want to cut out a peplum. Just rotate the 8 inches at first, like so. Yeah, that's the first line. Then the second line is for you to get the height of your collar. So for the height of my collar, I'm making use of 1.5 inches. I'll be using half an inch to join to the neckline, and then I'll be left with 1 inch as the collar. So I'll be cutting this out. It's very easy. If you didn't understand what I did here, just check out my channel on the tutorials on how to cut a turtleneck. So now I'm cutting out another piece because I'll be using the same to line the first one I cut out, so it should be in 2 pieces. I believe you get the drift, yeah? So this is what we have. So have 2 pieces like this. So before cutting this out, you just make sure you use your tape to ascertain if you have gotten the actual length of your neckline. I have more than enough because I still later cut out excess. So I will sew that upper part and then flip over, give it a very good press. If you want to iron a gum stay or an interfacing on it to give it stability, you can go ahead and do that, but I decided against that. I don't need it. I don't want that place choking my clients, and so I went ahead to fix it, and then I'll be using a weaving machine to weave it all the way to make it neat. And then after that, I went ahead to fix the sleeves, and this is how it came out, looking very beautiful. So you can see this is very easy to achieve. This multiple keyhole, it's very, very beautiful. I fixed the zipper as well, and this is the back view. So thank you all, and God bless you, and I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. So thank you, and God bless you, and see you all on my next tutorial. So like I always say, this is Genius Signatures, and I'm signing out. Thank you, and peace be unto you.